You can see she's losing her feathers. She's actually gaining them back. So she's almost finished molting. Now, one of my lavender buff Orpingtons is broody. Oh, that's her right there in the back. I see you looking at me. Look at her tail. Oh, she's gonna come around. Molting is where your chickens will lose their feathers. They can lose their feathers for a couple of things: stress, introducing new birds, or changing their living quarters, dehydration, extreme heat, or decreased daylight hours. So it typically happens after your chickens get to about 15 to 18 months, so year and a half. They'll start losing their feathers. Their feathers become dull and they don't have as much to them. So it doesn't keep them really warm in the winter. There are a couple different kind of molts. They have a couple before their actual big molt. They have one when they lose like their baby little cute fuzzy feathers. And then they have another one at about 15 weeks to get even larger feathers. But it's not a giant hard molt like they get when they're older. If you saw the Easter egger that I pointed out, she's kind of going through a softer molt. She hadn't lost like a bareback amount of feathers, where the lavender, she hadn't had a bareback amount of feathers, where the lavender Orpington has had a bareback of feathers. She's slowly gaining them back, but I'm just glad we don't live somewhere extremely cold. We have had some cold nights and days here, but they haven't been too bad. So I think they're okay in that aspect. Now, if you look at these leghorns, they're nice and white, all white. They just recently finished. Yeah, I see you. They just recently finished with their molt, so they look really good. Making new feathers takes a lot of energy, so it's best to do it before the winter when you need all your energy to keep warm. Now, while they're losing their feathers, they don't produce eggs, or if they do, it's majorly cut back. But what I've experienced is the white leghorns, they cut back on production, but the Easter eggers have stopped production. And I don't know if it's because it's crossbreed. But yeah, I've had no blue eggs the past couple months. It's kind of sad. So, Patrick first came out here and he thought that the chickens were fighting because they were barebacked, and that's what it looked like when our roosters would saddle them, but they're just molting. Now, roosters can molt too. It's not just hens. Roosters need to stay warm. We've actually had a volunteer rooster. Let me show you. He's on the outside of the coop. He's our neighborhood rooster. So I came home from vacation one day and Patrick was like, we have a rooster. And I was like, we got rid of our roosters. We didn't want roosters. And Patrick's like, no, he just kind of showed up out of the blue. He roosts here on the fence at night and keeps watch over the hens. It's like, okay, yeah, well, it's not so bad. Then it was raining one day. So we had someone give us this doghouse, and then we put one of the extra chicken waters out here, and we just kind of feed him every now and then and give him some scraps, and he sticks around. Now, molt is very painful for a chicken because what it is, they're losing their feathers. In place of those feathers is becoming a vein to grow a new feather. So lots of blood flow, lots of blood circulation, and then eventually once that circulation stops, the feathers fall off. I think this little girl right here, she is laying these beautiful, almost pink eggs. So yeah, our chickens are molting. They do look like they've been in a fight with a rooster or tried to have been saddled by a rooster. But it's not our volunteer rooster. And she likes to stay up there so she's away from the other birds because molt is painful. Let's see. I believe he just recently went through a molt too, because his tail feathers are coming back very pretty. They were just a little nub. So, what to expect during molt is lower egg production, mood swings sometimes. Yeah. I mean, they have feelings too. They can have mood swings. Change in appetite because they're going to need more protein to help them grow their feathers back and to keep warm. They're talking to the roosters because he's literally right outside the coop right now, circling them. But yeah, just try not to handle them. It's painful. Give them a little extra protein snack, some mealworms, some scraps. I mean, shoot, you could even give them leftover meat from your kitchen. They really don't care. Sometimes I give them leftover pizza, which I actually have. I need to get them. Clean out the fridge. Let me show you one of the feathers. So you can see how thick this is. You wouldn't like this coming out, and then you're having this whole thing is going to be filled with blood. That's painful, especially if you lose hair like you saw on that Buff Orpington where she lost all of her back feathers. So just keep this in mind. Happens about it when the weather changes, when the time changes rather than the weather, so they can lose their old dull feathers and keep them warm. Lock them up, make sure the roux doesn't get in there. But that's our chicken molt. If you have any questions or have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. We're always open to suggestions. But as always, like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.